I dare you to disappear. Cut all ties, delete all distractions, and go into a sustained period of isolation. I dare you to actually see what you're capable of. Blaise Pascal, a French mathematician, said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." I take it a step further. They stem from man's inability to endure isolation and loneliness. Everyone is so distracted nowadays. Every second of the day, if there's any blank space, they immediately fill it with this. But why? It's because of comfortability. If everyone is doing it, then you're not missing out. But let's get serious for a second. You have a dream. You have a vision in your head for how your life should look, but you're letting these distractions stop you from creating that life. I call it the resistance. It's the biggest thing standing between you and the life that you want to build. This could be friends or social media. It could be vices like alcohol or pornography. It's the horrible thing in your life that you've been meaning to deal with, but you convince yourself that you're in control. Stop lying to yourself. This video is for people who know they're meant for more. More than that shitty job they hate, more than those backstabbing friends that pull you down every time you veer away, more than those habits that are keeping you grounded, more than this life that you know you shouldn't be living. There's a way out. What I'm referring to is self-induced isolation. Some people call it monk mode, others call it going ghost. It's a period of your life where you've fallen off the grid. And in that period, you're left with nothing but the work itself. But here's the common misconception. You're not working on everything during this sprint of isolation, just the most important thing. The reason that people can't seem to make progress is because they're constantly switching the goal. Not seeing progress for 2 months, they'll switch the main thing, hoping for different outcomes. But impatience is the biggest threat to your ascension. If you can just nail that, then you automatically win. You're already ahead of 90% of people. After you've disappeared, you have to get clear on the one thing that you want to achieve. Ask yourself, what's the one thing that if I did it, if I achieved it, would make my life so much better? And you gotta stick with it no matter what. Going through self-induced isolation isn't just about ghosting the world. It's about condensing the time to drastically move your life forward. But because of ego, people think that they can drastically improve more than one thing at a time. And that's where mistakes start to happen. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, wrote an article about the science behind mastering one thing at a time. In bold words, he says, implementation intentions only work if you focus on one thing at a time. So if you're trying to pull in multiple things at once and trying to just be better in every aspect of your life, it'll never work. You'll always be at ground zero because you're trying to create too many new habits at a time. See, the best people, they give everything to that one thing. This is all about focusing on the highest leverage thing you can do. But the only way at the end of your period of isolation to guarantee success is if you cut the negative and neutral influences from your life. Force yourself to only be around positive things. Positive people, positive music, things that lift you up and motivate you to want to be better. If you can just guard your thoughts, you will always be in control. There is an author that I read, she was a psychologist, her name was Betty Eady, I believe, and she said, if people only knew the importance of thoughts, they would guard them more closely. See, our brains are the single biggest thing that dictates our success in this world. So by nature, training our brains is the highest leverage activity. Just like how bodybuilders don't eat pizza while they're trying to shred body fat, we're not gonna consume garbage content when we're trying to evolve. So I want you to take inventory of the things that you do. What kind of creators do you watch? What kind of friends do you listen to? What kind of people do you ask for advice from? All of these things influence our perception of the world. And it's so important that during this period of isolation, you cut out all those things that aren't benefiting you. This doesn't just apply to content, it applies to our friend groups and who we surround ourselves with as well. Unfortunately, and I hate that this is a reality, but when we try to evolve, the people around us, they don't always support our vision. And it happens for plenty of reasons, like the biggest one being they don't like the way it makes them feel to see you go after your goal. It makes them feel like they're less than because they're not. During a recent period of self-induced isolation, I had a friend who just completely started hating on me. He started telling people that I was a bad friend and that I was a bad person, all because I was in pursuit of my goal. And this instance made me realize how careful you have to be when you pick the people that you spend your time with. So even if you're on the fence about that one person or that one content creator or that one artist, if it's not a direct benefit to your life, then you gotta cut it out completely. This will give you the bandwidth and the space to create those healthy habits that you're seeking. Before you start your period of isolation, I want you to list out your daily non-negotiables. I only recommend having 3, but these are the things that help you achieve that end goal, whatever it is. What kind of habits does the future version of yourself have? This might be a workout regimen or a bedtime or a self-education protocol. Find 3 habits that directly benefit you that you can execute on daily. They don't need to take a bunch of time out of your day. They're just little small wins that build up that confidence. These need to be bulletproof. That means you'll do them when you don't feel like it. You'll do them when it's cold. You'll do them no matter what. And you might be wondering, MJ, why is this so important? Let me explain for you. So if you had a friend who every single time you had plans, they were always 10 minutes late or 15 minutes late or 20 minutes late, would you still trust their word? No, you wouldn't. And that same philosophy applies internally as well. If you say you're gonna do something and you don't do it, your word starts to mean nothing. This is why we need to have those things that aren't too difficult that you can hit every day. For some, that means going to the gym for 30 minutes or waking up at 6 a.m. every day or walking for 10 minutes after you eat. We're trying to rebuild your self-image here. You need to believe that you are who you say you are in order to take on this next challenge. At this point, you're like, MJ, I'm ready. I figured out the one project I'm gonna work on. I've gotten rid of all the negative and neutral influences in my life, and I've outlined my daily non-negotiables. I'm ready to start my period of isolation. I like the enthusiasm, but you're only half of the way there. These next 3 steps are going to be the most important, so I really need you to pay attention here. They're gonna lay the foundation for how you can actually disappear and come back unrecognizable. Now that you have all this stuff, you're in a perfect position to finally make it real. Now, most of these self-improvement creators out there will tell you to disappear and not tell anybody, just go ghost. But I actually disagree with that. I think that a lot of people suffer from not being able to hold themselves accountable, so they need that little external push to make it real. I want you to think of the person that you trust the most in this world. This could be a parent or your best friend or a girlfriend or your spouse, whoever it is. I want you to picture them in your head. Now, if you told this person what you were planning, do you think you'll be more likely to hit your goal or less likely? Well, if you trust them, then you're probably gonna be more likely to hit your goal. This step is crucial. I just want you to have a conversation with this person. It doesn't have to be long. Just tell them what you're planning. Tell them what this next 6 months is gonna look like and what you're trying to achieve. But don't just stop there. Put it on paper. Write out a contract with yourself and with them on the things that you're gonna achieve in the next 6 months. And then I want you both to sign it. This is what makes it real. Now there's a tangible document that's holding you to your word, and you have the person closest to you also holding you to your word. When people vocalize a commitment or a promise to somebody, they're more likely to follow through with that promise. It kind of adds this positive social pressure that pushes you and benefits a lot of people. How many times have you said you're gonna make that New Year's change and it just never happens because you didn't tell anybody, and it just, kind of after the first 2 months you were kind of done, it was okay, it was whatever? Probably a lot. Probably every year for most of you. But this time, there's gonna be someone else on your journey helping you out. Now, this is where it gets really, really fun. We're gonna focus on making that one project come to life, that one goal that you're searching for. We're gonna make it happen. When you initially set the vision for what you want to look like after these next 6 months, it's good because it helps you be directionally correct. But now I want you to take that vision and I want you to break it into your action steps. What do your months look like? What do your weeks look like? What do your days look like? You need to outline every action that you're gonna be taking that's gonna get you to that goal. Work backwards. Take the vision and then outline a month, then a week, then a day, and stack that up on top of each other so that you can make this a reality. You need to turn your goal or your vision from being too vague to being the outline for your life over these next 6 months. And you do this by identifying the primary actions. What are those things that you can do that will actually get you closer to your goal? For example, if my goal is to lose weight over the next 6 months, then it's my job to identify the primary actions, tracking my macros, eating through 4 or 5 meals a day, and regular exercise. Now take your goal and identify what those primary actions are. These primary actions are gonna be the lifeblood for everything else. They're gonna tell you exactly what you need to focus on and what you need to cut out of your life. The last step to successfully disappearing and coming back unrecognizable is to delete all of your distractions. I define distractions as anything that aren't primary actions. So those things that you just listed out, if it's not that, then it's a distraction. Now, of course, you have a life. You can't just put everything on hold to go after this 6-month goal, but what you can do is you can remove the excess things. You can change out those couple of meals. You can spend your free time working towards that goal that you have. And I know you're like, MJ, didn't you just tell us about cutting negative and neutral influences from our life? And I did, but this is more so about having a decision-making framework around that. Every single time you're faced with a decision on whether or not you should do something, I want you to ask yourself, does this get me closer to my goal? And if the answer is yes, then do it. If the answer is no, or if the answer is yeah, then don't do it. It's not gonna help you get there. For many of us, that means deleting TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Those are all things that are not gonna get us closer to our goal, so therefore we should purge them. These next 6 months are gonna be intense. They're not gonna be sexy, they're not gonna be pretty, but they will get you there. I promise you, if you just put in the work, they will get you there. If you can nail every single one of these steps, then you will be on track to becoming the best version of yourself. The version where you feel proud to stand tall. You feel good when you walk into a room. People actually notice the changes that you've made. And if you want to take things to the next level, then I have a free community for like-minded and driven individuals, and I would love for you to be a part of it. It'll be linked in the description below. So, hope this video helps. Peace out.